How's it going, wrestling fans? Tom here from CollectAWrestlePalooza. We lost a GOAT. We lost a legend. Hulk Hogan is no longer with us. At the time of this recording, the news is pretty fresh. The legend has passed, but Hulkamania will live forever. So in honor of that, whether you love him or hate him, you have to respect what Hulk Hogan did for professional wrestling. We're going to do a top 5. We're going to count down the highest prices paid for Hulk Hogan stuff on eBay. Let's do it.
CollectAWrestlePalooza, CollectAWrestlePalooza.
But before I get too far, let me tell you about this channel, CollectAWrestlePalooza. This is my channel. I'm a man in my 40s. I like to show you what I'm collecting. This is stuff from my childhood, 80s and 90s. Professional wrestling is going to be a big focus, but really anything that I collect, I'll show you on this channel. I collect Garbage Pail Kids, VHS, heavy metal cassettes, vintage t-shirts, a lot of wrestling cards, a lot of wrestling action figures, and a lot of stuff that brings me joy that either I couldn't afford as a child or I never had as a child, because to me collecting the modern stuff just doesn't give me joy the same way collecting stuff that I remember from when I was a kid gives me joy. So that's what this channel's about. If you're on a similar adventure, please feel free to like and subscribe, or if you're just interested in what I'm doing with my collection and some of the prices that people are paying for this sort of stuff, I do a lot of top 5 videos on this channel as well. So the criteria for this video is simple. I type Hulk Hogan into the eBay search bar, and then I look for only sold and completed listings, and if it looks legit and it's an auction, I will include it in the top 5. I choose eBay because I think that auctions are real indications of the price for a product where the seller does not determine the price, the people that are bidding determine the price. So that's why I look at auctions, and eBay is of course the biggest auction house there is, so that's my source of truth for these top 5 prices. Coming in at number 5 is the most important wrestling card of all time, many people would say, of the GOAT. This is a BGS 8 1982 Wrestling All-Stars Hulk Hogan card, sold for $3,550. I love the BGS slabs. I think it's too bad that they have lost their prominence in the hobby. I do love the subgrades, particularly for real high-end cards. It's a very thick slab. It's very special. So for $3,550, it actually seems like a pretty good price for an 8 grade of this card, particularly if it would cross over to a PSA 8. Viewers, what do you think? Do you like this slab? Do you like the way this looks? And also the card itself, it's pretty well centered. It feels like the colors are bright. You can see on the subgrades, the corners and the edges got good grades. I don't see anything wrong with the surface, no print dots, imperfections, anything like that. Really, really clean card for $3,550. Some people call this his rookie. That's the debate in the hobby, is what's the rookie? What Hulk Hogan card is his rookie? Some people say this one. Some people say the 1985 Topps, because that's the first licensed pack pulled card of his. But most people will say it's either this one, or there are some earlier cards of him. I believe it's called Popey or Poppy. Some Japanese wrestling figures had a card inside. There's also some other ones from his time in Japan. Viewers, what's his rookie? Leave a comment below and let us know your opinion. The other hot debate about these iconic cards is whether it's better to have this signed or unsigned. Viewers, what do you think about that? Are we going to see a signed one later on in the top 5? Let's see. Coming in at number 4 is an awesome 1989 Wrestling Superstars LJN Grand Toys Collector's Edition red shirt Hulk Hogan mint on card action figure that sold for $3,739. This is from the famous Black Card series. This was the last run of the LJNs, and the rarest are all the ones with the black cards. What I didn't know is this one still has an LJN logo on it. You can see in the bottom left left corner, it does have the LJN rainbow, and then in the bottom right corner, it also has the Grand Toys logo. I thought that by this time it was exclusively a Grand Toys product and they had the license completely, and LJN was no longer affiliated with this action figure line. Viewers, if you know why there's two logos, please leave some comments and let us know. But no matter what, this is a variant because it is the red shirt Hogan. There's also a white shirt Hogan, which is not the collector's edition. And I don't know which one is rarer, but I do know that the nice collector's edition logo in the upper right-hand corner makes this one quite sought after, and it does often come in high on our top 5 lists. I prefer the aesthetics of the white shirt version, the American-made Hulk Hogan, more than the red shirt, red tank top Hulkamania one. I don't even remember him ever wearing a red shirt in the ring or tearing that. I seem to remember him tearing either a yellow shirt or a white shirt, which would give me more nostalgia. But viewers, what are your opinions? What do you think of this? Is this the one to get? Is this the best LJN? In your opinion, let us know. But this one sold for $3,739. Coming in at number 3 is another version of the 1982 Wrestling All-Stars. This one was signed. It's graded PSA 7 with a 10 auto, and it sold for $4,000. Alright, so here's the debate. Would you rather have this card or the BGS 8 that was not signed? I'm sure now you'd rather have the autographed one now that Hulk Hogan has passed, but in general, we don't know if the autograph is going to make the card more valuable or less desirable, particularly, like I said, for these top tier cards. I do like the black ink on this one. I tend to like black ink on autograph cards because it looks more like a real legal autograph or a document that the wrestler would sign, so it's kind of personalized. That's what I think an autograph is a black ink representation of the person on a legal document. So that's kind of cool to me that this one is such a really sharp, nice looking autograph, but I don't like that it's justified to the left. I also don't like, it looks like a print dot or a print imperfection to the right of Hogan's temple. I don't know if that's glare or if that's on the card. So for me, I actually like the BGS 8 one at number 5 a little bit better, just because it's a nice, clean, pristine representation of Hogan and it doesn't have the dot or the left justified autograph, but that's my preference. Viewers, what's your preference? Let us know in the comments. Coming in at number 2 is a really cool artifact. This is a signed Wrestlemania 1 ticket stub. Wrestlemania 1, Hulk Hogan was in the main event, but it wasn't just him. He was on a tag team with Mr. T. Wrestlemania 1 is important for so many reasons. It was the first WrestleMania, which of course makes it special, but also during that time, you have to remember that was rock and wrestling. That was when Vince McMahon was trying to pull wrestling into the mainstream, and the success of WrestleMania 1 really set the cadence for professional wrestling being a global phenomenon and a pop culture icon moving forward, meaning that it wasn't just in the bingo halls, it was in the big arenas, and it was something that you watched on Saturday night on NBC with the Saturday night's main event. That was the beginning of all that, was WrestleMania. So Cyndi Lauper was there, Alice Cooper was there, I think Ozzy Osbourne was there. Really a who's who of musicians were there as well. Liberace and Muhammad Ali and all of these larger than life Hollywood stars were there. So it became a thing, and that was when professional wrestling was water cooler talk. It was being talked about in offices, and that's when wrestling really took off. So Hulk Hogan was, of course, the main draw. Even though he wasn't a tag team, everyone was there to see Hogan, and this is a signed ticket stub. Again, would you rather have it signed or not signed? I don't know. I feel like now, again, that Hogan has passed, I'd rather have it signed, but in general, just having a WrestleMania 1 ticket stub would have been pretty cool. I guess if it was signed at the event, that would be cool, but this looks like it was signed probably at his beach shop because the signature is pretty clean and well placed on the ticket stub. But even still, really, really awesome. What an amazing relic of the most important event in professional wrestling history, a WrestleMania 1 ticket stub for $6,636. And interestingly, number 1 is a ticket stub as well. I really, really like this. This is my favorite Hulk Hogan merchandise probably that I've ever featured on this channel. This is a ticket stub from the show when Hulk Hogan beat the Iron Sheik, a ringside ticket stub from Madison Square Garden on that day in 1984, January 23rd, right at the beginning of the year. It was in the middle of winter, and in this hot arena, Hulk Hogan pinned Iron Sheik and became the WWF champion. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. What a really cool ticket stub. It's in great shape. You can tell the person was there because it was torn, and you get the side that has your seat number on it. You know, you don't see these come up, and this is an artifact. I like thinking about collectibles in 2 categories. One is something you collect to collect, which is something that's sold as a collectible, be it a sports card or sometimes an action figure or a piece of memorabilia. This is an artifact. This is an historical artifact. It sold for $6,799. I love it. I've never seen one before. Viewers, what do you think? Does this give you goosebumps as well? Tell us your favorite Hulk Hogan memory. Is it this night when he pinned the Iron Sheik? Just really, really great stuff. So anyway, that is number 1 for this week. Let's compare it to number 1 from the last time I ran this, which, believe it or not, was in 2024. I want to say September, October, something like that. At that time, the number 1 was a 1982 Wrestling All-Stars PSA 8, which sold for $8,401. Viewers, remember that BGS 8 that sold for $3,500? Which would you rather have, that or this PSA 8? The PSA 8, I mean, obviously you'd rather have it, but would you rather spend $5,000 more? Now, granted, this was last year, so you could say that Hulk Hogan merchandise is down, you could say that the wrestling card market is down, but I think that BGS 8 for $3,500 was a really nice pickup for whoever bought that. Further evidenced by this PSA 8 selling for $8,401 back in 2024. And that does it for this week. Rest in peace, GOAT, Hulk Hogan. Hulkamania lives forever.
CollectAWrestlePalooza, CollectAWrestlePalooza.